Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the tutorial of chapter 6, that is fractions. What is a fraction? So, a fraction is denoted with the help of numerator and denominator. What is numerator and denominator? Numerator is a part of a whole and denominator is the whole, right? So as you can see in front of you, a picture of pizza is drawn where one part has been eaten and three parts are left. So we are trying to write the fraction for the parts of the pizzas that are left with us. So the numerator is 3 and the denominator is 4. So part of a whole is 3 here because we are writing the fraction for the part of the pizza that is left with us, right? So 3 parts are left. So 3 is the numerator and whole means the whole was divided into 4 parts. So we have written whole in the denominator, that is 4. So a fraction tell about a part of a whole. Here the pizza is divided into 4 equal parts and there are 3 parts left with us and 1 has been eaten. So if we try to write down the fraction for the part that we have eaten, we'll be writing the fraction as 1 by 4. So you need to focus on the vocabularies, numerator and denominator. Learn the spelling as well, because the biggest mistakes that students do is in the spellings of these words, numerator and denominator. Now in front of you is the general form of fractions. The dividing line between numerator and denominator plays a very important role. So this is the general form of fractions, that is numerator upon denominator. We also call it as numerator by denominator. Now here denominator can never be equal to 0, right? If numerator and denominator is equal, for example 4 by 4 or 5 by 5, then the fraction becomes the whole, that is 1, right? 5 by 5 means 5 divided by 5, so number divided by itself will give you 1. So numerator divided by denominator gives us the whole. So this is called as the unity of fractions, where numerator is equal to denominator, right? So pay attention that denominator can never be equal to 0. So try to find out why I said like this, that denominator can never be equal to 0. Try to find it yourself and we'll be discussing this in the Teams session. Now let us revise different types of fractions. So on comparing numerator and denominator, we can classify them into proper fractions and improper fractions. Now let's compare the numerator and denominator. As you can see, the first example, the fraction is 3 by 4. Numerator is smaller than denominator. So such a fraction where numerator is less than the denominator is termed as proper fraction. Opposite of this is called as improper fraction. That is, when numerator is more than the denominator. You can see the second example, 7 by 4. 7 is greater than 4. So it is an improper fraction. You might be thinking of the diagram given with improper fractions. I'll be explaining this diagram when we'll be doing mixed fractions. We will see that mixed fractions and improper fractions are related to each other. Now, what is mixed fraction? The improper fraction can be written in the mixed form, as it is the mixture of whole number and a fraction, right? So when you take one whole and add a part of a whole to it, you get a mixed number. For example, one whole pizza with 3/4 of the pizza will give you a mixed number, that is 1 3 by 4, where 1 is a whole number or 1 is a whole and 3 by 4 is a proper fraction. So you get a mixed number which is called as a mixed fraction. So it is a mixture of a whole number and a proper fraction. Now when we see it in a combined form, we get an improper fraction. We'll also be looking how to convert mixed fraction into improper fractions and how to convert improper fractions into mixed fractions later on. Let's learn few more types of fractions. When two or more fractions are given, depending upon the values of their denominator, they can be termed as like fractions and unlike fractions. So let us see one by one. The fraction with same denominators are called as like fractions. For example, 1 by 6, 2 by 6 and 3 by 6 all have same denominator. Next is the fractions with different denominators are called as unlike fractions. For example, 1 by 2, 2 by 3 and 3 by 4. So all have different denominators. So by looking at the denominators, on the basis of denominators, we can classify the fractions into like fractions and unlike fractions. Another type of fraction is equivalent fraction. The fractions proportional to each other or equal to each other are called as equivalent fractions. It represents the same amount with different fractions. What I mean by saying this line is, for example, half of 10 kg is 5 kg, half of 100 kg is 50 kg. So we are talking about the half of the amount. It is representing the same amount, but the fraction is different. Like if I talk about 5 kg, so that is 5 by 10. If I talk about 50 kg, it is 50 by 100. So different fractions with same amount. For example, 1 by 2 is equal to 2 by 4 and 2 by 4 is equal to 3 by 6. All these three fractions are equal to each other. When I divide pizza into two parts and I select 1, I get the fraction 1 by 2. If I increase the division of the parts and I keep it in proportion, I make 4 parts and I select 2, I get a fraction 2 by 4. Similarly, if I divide pizza into 6 parts and select 3 out of that, half out of that, so the fraction becomes 3 by 6. All the three fractions are equal to each other because the numerator is half of denominator. So we are talking about half of the total parts here. So this is what equivalent fractions is. We will talk in detail about equivalent fractions very soon. Let's talk about another type of fraction, which is unit fraction. Fractions with 1 as the denominators are called as unit fractions. For example, 1 by 3, 1 by 5, 1 by 8 and 1 by 9. In front of you is a different presentation of fractions given with the help of slash. It also represents the dividing line. So sometimes in question papers or in Olympiads, we see fraction written in this form. So don't get confused. These are the fractions that are given. It is 1 by 3, 1 by 5, 1 by 8 and 1 by 9. Now let us see how to convert mixed fractions into improper fractions. Now first of all, let's have a look on the representation of a mixed fraction. It is a whole number combination of a whole number and a proper fraction. So whole number is 1 here and a proper fraction is 3/4 here. So when we combine it, we get a mixed fraction 1 3/4. Now how to convert it to a mixed fraction? First of all, we multiply the denominator of the mixed fraction to the whole number, that is 4 multiplied by 1, that is 4 ones are 4, and now add numerator to it. So 4 ones are 4 and plus 3 is 7. So this gives you the numerator of the improper fraction and the denominator remains the same. So we get 7/4 as the improper fraction. So this is how we convert a mixed fraction into an improper fraction. You can try out 3-4 examples yourself in a rough copy to practice this. Now let us try upon the same example. We shall be converting this improper fraction into the mixed fraction again. So we have 7/4 here as a mixed fraction here. So now what to be done is divide the numerator by the denominator. So it means 7 becomes the dividend and 4 becomes the divisor. Divide it as usual. Now the quotient will be the whole number. The quotient is 1 here. Write it as the whole number. The remainder becomes the numerator of the proper fraction, while the denominator remains the same, right? Denominator means the divisor becomes the denominator, right? So this is how we get a mixed fraction 1 3/4, right? So the general form of a mixed fraction is quotient, means quotient acts like a whole number, remainder acts like the numerator, and the divisor acts like the denominator. Try out few examples yourself so that you can have a practice of this. Let us now try to find equivalent fractions of a given fraction, which is very easy. Now we have an example here. We are starting from 1/2 as the fraction, and we are going to find out 3 equivalent fractions of that, means 3 different fractions which are equal to 1/2. So how to do that? To find the equivalent fraction of a proper and improper fraction, we multiply both the numerator and the denominator with the same number, right? For example, in this, the numerator is 1 and the denominator is 2. So for the first equivalent fraction, we have multiplied both numerator and denominator by 2. That is 1 2s are 2 and 2 2s are 4. Right? Now for finding the second equivalent fraction, you can multiply 2 or 3 or 4 or any other number of your choice with the numerator and denominator, but the condition is that you have to multiply the same number, right? So with 2 we multiplied 2, 2 2s are 4, 4 4s are 8, right? Again, for finding the third equivalent fraction, you can perform the same task. So 4 2s are 8 and 8 2s are 16. So it's not mandatory that you are going to double it every time. You can use any other number. You can triple it. You can do 4 times, 5 times, any of your choice, right? So this is a very easy concept of equivalent fractions. So this is how we can find out as many equivalent fractions as we want. Now, not only by multiplication you can get an equivalent fraction, also by division you can get an equivalent fraction of the given fraction. So here is an example in front of you. We can divide both numerator and denominator by the same number to get the equivalent fraction. For example, we have 40/60, a fraction here, a proper fraction. So both are the multiples of 10, so we can divide both numerator and denominator by 10 to get a fraction 4/6, which is equal to 40/60. So this is the first equivalent fraction that we have got. Now if you want to find one more equivalent fraction, we can think of a common factor of 4 and 6 so that we can divide it. So we got 2 as the common factor, so we are going to divide 4 and 6 by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2 and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 2 by 3 is the third equivalent fraction. Now, so this is how we can use division also to find the equivalent fractions. Let us now work upon equivalent fractions given in exercise 4.1. So the question says fill in the blanks. A part 40 by 45 and the equivalent fraction is given as 8 by 9. So here in the question it has been mentioned that the equivalent fraction has been found with the help of division, right? So you have to pay attention to the common factors here. We are going to divide both numerator and denominator by a common factor. So 40 and 45 have a common factor 5, right? Also we can cross check that 40 divided by what number gives you 8. So 40 divided by 5 will give you 8 and 45 divided by 5 will give you 9. So be careful that both the numerator and denominator has to be multiplied or divided by the same number. So here the number in the blank is 5. Next question is D part. 63 by 108 is equal to 63 divided by dash upon 108 divided by 9 is equal to dash, right? So here the equivalent fraction is missing. Also in the numerator the number by which 63 is divided is missing. So the concept that you have learned to find equivalent fractions, with the help of that concept you can easily find the number by which 63 is divided, right? So since 108 is divided by 9, the denominator is divided by 9, the numerator will also be divided by the same number. So 63 is divided by 9 here. Now we can easily find out the quotients of the numerator and denominator. So in the numerator I get 7 because 63 divided by 9 is 7 and 108 divided by 9 is 12. So the equivalent fraction is 7 by 12. Now let's see question number 3. Which of the following are equivalent fractions, right? So let us start with A part. The fractions given are 2 by 3 and 12 by 16, right? So 2 and 12 are the numerators and 3 and 16 are the denominators of the two fractions given. So when we want to check whether the fractions given are equivalent or not, we are just going to see whether the numerator and denominator are in proportion or not, right? So let us first of all concentrate on the numerators of A part, 2 and 12. So 2 6 are 12, and let us now concentrate on the denominators. 3 and 16 are not, 16 is not a multiple of 3. So when we have multiplied 6 with the numerator, we need to multiply 6 with the denominator as well. So 3 6 is 18, right? But the denominator given here is 16. So the fractions given are not equivalent fractions, right? Let us now see B part. The fractions are 5 by 9 and 20 by 36. So 5 and 20. So now let us see how 5 and 20 are related. So 5 4s are 20. So we need to multiply the same number 4 with the 9 as well. So 9 4s are 36. So that is the denominator given. So yes, these fractions are equivalent fractions. So in the same manner you can do C and D part as well. Try out the questions of exercise 6.1 in your practice copy. We'll be discussing your doubts in the virtual session. Thank you.